15th, National Bundt Day, or specifically Bundt Pan Day. So that's what we're making today, a bundt. You know, a bundt. Anyway, corny joke, sorry. Tons of ingredients for this one. This is one of those videos that I just saw recently on Facebook, you know, one of those quick here, make this things, you know. We are going to put our own modifications on it. They used maraschino cherries in theirs and canned cherry pie filling. I won't do that. So what I did was I changed it up. Since it's a chocolate-based bundt cake, I'm doing raspberry instead of cherry. So I have some fresh raspberries I'm going to use. I'm also making my own raspberry, from scratch, raspberry pie filling. Okay, using frozen raspberries, and then the fresh raspberries I'll use for the other part. You'll see when we get to that part of it. But I'm cooking my own raspberry filling to use for this, okay? It's got some cream cheese filling, it's a chocolate cake, cream cheese filling, raspberry filling. It's all going to kind of really go together. It almost seems like a raspberry cheesecake inside of a chocolate cake. It's kind of cool. Alrighty, so let me show you what you need for today, because there's a lot of stuff here, and let's get started on this one. Okay, for our cake part of our bundt cake today, you'll need 2 cups of flour, 1½ cups of sugar, a teaspoon of kosher salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of water, a stick and a half of unsalted butter, 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, 1 heaping tablespoon of espresso powder, 6 ounces of chocolate chips, a ½ cup of sour cream, 2 eggs, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1½ tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and raspberries and raspberry pie filling. Okay, first things first. Let's take our flour, big bowl here. Take your flour, your sugar, your baking soda, and your salt, and just whisk those all together really well in this big bowl. Okay? Okay, now next, in your saucepan here, medium saucepan, you're going to take your water and your 6 ounces of unsalted butter, and you're going to melt this all down. To this, you're going to whisk in your cocoa powder and your espresso powder, okay? Just whisk that until it's nice and smooth and there's no lumps or anything, okay? Okay, so now you're off the heat. Remember, as soon as that butter thing boils, take it off the heat, whisk in your 2 things. Last thing you're going to whisk into this is your chocolate chips, okay? These are going to melt down pretty fast and make this nice chocolate, thicker chocolate sauce or something that's going to actually flavor our chocolate cake. And then once that's all mixed together and incorporated, you're going to add this to your dry ingredients here, and we're just going to mix this all together, okay? To make a chocolate cake batter. Now you could use your electric mixer. I do have it out on the counter, but this one seems pretty easy to do, and they say don't overmix it, so I'm just going to do it by hand, okay? So that's all nice and mixed. Really pretty easy by hand. You don't even need that thing. We might save this for the cream cheese part of the mixture, okay? Then to this chocolate mix now, your sour cream, we're going to mix that into this, okay? Okay, and then lastly, I'm switching back to my whisk now since this is kind of loosened up. Your 2 eggs, okay, and your vanilla. It's the last couple things you're going to add to this, okay? My spatula right there. And just whisk all this together. For the cheesecake part of our filling, you'll need 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, a ½ cup of sugar plus 2 tablespoons, a teaspoon of vanilla, 3 tablespoons of flour, and 1 egg. Okay, now I'm going to use my mixer. 2 blocks of softened cream cheese. Okay. So I'm going to stand here. There we go. And we're going to cream this with our sugar and our vanilla. Okay. And just whip it until it's light and fluffy. Okay, and then once that's light and fluffy, add your single egg. Turn it down a little bit, and the flour. Okay? Let's start assembling this thing, okay? Take your greased Bundt pan. You're going to take some melted butter, that little bit of butter that you had, you're just going to drizzle that into your Bundt pan here, kind of evenly, okay? You're going to sprinkle some of your brown sugar into here. I don't know why. I don't know if brown sugar goes with cherries. Remember, we changed this from cherries to raspberries, but it'll still probably bake and make like a nice sugary, crispy crust on the top of our Bundt cake, okay? So anyway, sprinkle some of that sugar in there. I don't know how heavy, I mean, they asked for a certain amount, but I don't know how heavy they want us to go with this. Okay, I'll just put it all in there. Make sure you kind of spread that out. Okay, now we're going to add our raspberries. You're going to just, in the grooves, let me show you. In the grooves, see how there's like these channels that makes the shape of your Bundt cake? In those grooves, you're going to layer out a couple raspberries, okay? So that way when this thing bakes, it's going to look kind of decorative on the top, okay? Just in the channel grooves. You'll see at the end, we'll show you the, well, if it works. If it doesn't all stick to this pan, we'll show you at the end the finished design, okay? So it's kind of like that. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay, now, next step. What you're going to do is take about 3/4 of your chocolate cake batter and pour it on top of this, okay? Make sure you save enough because you have to put more on the top, okay? So now you're going to take your cheesecake filling and you're going to put it into this pan on top, right on top of the chocolate, but don't touch the sides or the center. So try to keep it in the center of this chocolate batter ring, okay? Don't touch the side. Don't let the cheesecake touch the sides or the, I probably should use a smaller spoon. Okay, just want to dollop it in, but don't touch the sides. Okay, so that's a little tricky, but you get the hang of it, okay? So you want to make sure you leave the chocolate. Now you're going to do the same thing with your raspberry filling. Look how chunky and beautiful our homemade raspberry filling, okay? We're just going to put this on top of the cheesecake layer, trying not to touch the sides or the middle, okay? And then finally, take the rest of your batter and cover the top of this, okay? You're covering everything here. Now, this whole thing is kind of an experiment too, substituting the raspberries. You know, like I said, they use cherries, maraschino cherries as the garnish on the bottom like we did with the raspberries, and then they use cherry pie filling. So this whole thing, I don't know if the raspberries are going to give off too much juice when they bake, that it's going to mess up the whole thing. I don't know. We're going to hope not, because this thing looks like a winner already. I mean, it's chocolate cake, it's raspberries, it's cheesecake. I mean, it's just the whole shebang in one thing. There you go. Ooh. Okay. Don't touch it. Just want to make sure that the raspberries, I'm sure it'll all bake over. Raspberries are poking out a little bit there, but that's okay. I'm just going to cover those up with some cake. I'm sure this cake is going to bake up all around it. Okay, all that's left is the bacon. 350 oven, 50 to 60 minutes. Toothpick in, toothpick out. Cake done. We're done. Alrighty, and we just have to, only thing left is a 2-ingredient glaze that we're going to drizzle over the top. It's confection sugar and milk, and you make it into like a syrupy glaze, and we drizzle that over, but that's later. Okay, let's get this in there. See you in an hour when this thing comes out. Fingers crossed, everybody. There it is. All done. What you do is you make a glaze of confection sugar. It's about a cup of confection sugar and maybe a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of milk. And you mix that, whisk that, and it gets like syrupy, and then you just drizzle it over the top. Don't add too much milk though, because if you make it too watery, it's not gonna dry up and reharden, okay? Anyway, there's our finished cake. Fingers crossed that this thing comes out good. Okay, this is either gonna work or it's gonna be a complete mess. Let's cut a piece and see how we did. Wow, look at that. You see that? Look how perfect that came out, huh? Looks like it cooked all the way through. We got a nice cheesecake layer. We got some of the raspberry. Now the raspberry didn't show on the top like it's supposed to be decorative on the top. You're supposed to see those few that we put in the bottom. I mean, they're in there somewhere. Somewhere in this track they're there. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, I want to try and get you because I didn't cut that big of a piece. But do you see the layer there of the cheesecake and the cake? You see that? Alright, this one looks pretty good. Now how does it taste? Let's see. Let's get a nice taste of the cheesecake filling. Is nice and firm. Okay, so let's make sure we get some of that with the cake part. Oh wow. This one is spectacular. Wow. You get the chocolate, you get the nice hint of the raspberry. See, there's a big raspberry right there. But you get some of that with your cheesecake and cake. Oh my God. Now it needs more raspberry. I thought it was going to have a lot more, because we put a good amount of that filling in there. Anyway, I know, I just keep showing you, Look, hurry up, we gotta get some. Really, really, really beautifully done. Still a little warm. Perfect for a Thanksgiving dessert. I'm assuming you're gonna have to put this in the fridge because of this cheesecake filling. I wouldn't recommend leaving it out on the counter, so we definitely are going to refrigerate this one. But fantastic today. Bundt Cake Day, everybody. This is a winner. See you tomorrow.